It was announced that Homebound is going for the Oscars from India.
I'm trying very hard to feel ecstatic and happy.
I was on an airplane when the news came and I was on flight Wi-Fi. तो वो आता जाते रहता है. उसने बोला था जरूर बोलना कि तू हवा में उड़ रहा.
Between Masan to Homebound, I think is also my own coming of age journey, so to say.
And I was walking back to the car और विशाल ने मुझे 100 मीटर आगे से देख के बोला शोएब, nice walk.
मुझे नहीं चाहिए कि आप दोनों एक दूसरे को ईशान और विशाल की तरह देखें.
Bridge the gap between you and the character because he had said कि character won't come to you.
ये परफॉर्मेंस इसलिए बहुत ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट थी कि मैं सिंपल तरीके से कितना.
When you're shooting, we were shooting in the middle of a bridge. There were lockdowns in place. So we would do a take and have to punch in for a close and there would be cars moving.
The inspiration actually, I drew it from Nagaraj, the way he did Sairaj.
Darling 3D Diwali deals. நீங்கள் வாங்கும் ஒவ்வொரு பொருளுக்கும் 3 அற்புதமான deals.
No compromise. உங்க சைடுலயும் எங்க சைடுலயும். It's a GT promise.
GT Holidays, South India's #1 travel brand.
We Care Hair and Skin Clinic. Say hello to spotless radiance with We Care's Melasine Skin Treatment. Call 755-0030-222.
Hello, Neeraj, Vishal and Ishaan. Very, very happy to hear that just today it was announced that Homebound is going for the Oscars from India. This is like a...
It hasn't sunk in for any of us, as you
They
can see.
seem happy.
Yeah.
So विशाल ने मुझे कहा था कि ये जवाब दूँ मैं. I was on an airplane when the news came and I was on flight Wi-Fi. तो वो आता जाते रहता है. उसने बोला था जरूर बोलना कि तू हवा में उड़ रहा था.
Well, you literally flying.
Literally.
Yeah, we had a video call while he was on the airplane.
Yeah. So, am I allowed to ask how it feels? Is that a cliche question?
पूछ ही लिया.
You have to do
asked.
cliche sometimes.
You already asked, but like I said, it hasn't sunk in for me. I think just getting to the finish mark of getting this film out has been such a journey of like 4 years. So I'm trying very hard to feel ecstatic and happy, but I think it's not sunk in. So I don't know.
That's good.
Yeah.
But Neeraj, behind you, there's from the director of Masan, right?
Yeah.
That's 2015. We are in 2025.
Guilty as
Yes,
charged.
there is Gili Pucci, all that is there. But as features, there's just these two. I know it takes a long time, but what is it that has made this,
I think it's, I've been approached by many studios with a lot of scripts and there are a lot of ideas, but I think the battle was with my own self, I feel. I was not finding something that would legit make me wake up in the morning and leave everything behind and just like get on chasing it. Mm-hmm. And I did have a phase during these 10 years where I've toured around the country to villages and I was obsessed with doing something on farmer suicides as well. I've chased that bit. But then I realized that I didn't have a great, like the politics of it became bigger than the story. And I said that I can't do that. So that didn't happen. So I was also trying to do a biopic in the middle, but that didn't take off. And I think it was well worth the wait to actually pick up a story that, like, I think it just shook me so hard that I couldn't like not be associated with it. So I think the story drove me.
Okay.
So the first time when I read Basharat's article for the New York Times, of course it shakes you up. It moves you, but also at the same time, there was something that piqued my interest into it was there's a quote by Rilke that sums up for me. It's that let everything happen to you. Mm-hmm. No feeling is final.
Beauty and terror.
Beauty and terror. I felt that behind all the struggles and travails that people go through, there's also the brightness, and I wanted to chase that brightness as well. That was the first point to even begin. And then it was all about like, what are the things that move me in the story? Firstly, I feel that when we speak of any marginalized identity, be it on race or caste or religion, sexual minorities, ethnic minorities, migrants or immigrants, we always speak of them in statistics. Mm-hmm. And it's mostly the urban audience that we all speak in statistics, and so that it's sort of to like unburden ourselves with the guilt of feeling and accountability. So I thought that what if we humanize this statistic and speak of two people and see how do they arrive at the point where we start discussing in urban India. So let's see where they came from, what were their homes like, what were the bond like, and how did they, what did they eat, what did they love, what did they aspire for, and how were their dreams shattered, and what made them move from where they were, and how do they even go back from where they started. So these questions are the ones that like haunted me, and also I have similar backgrounds from there. And then also there are a lot of personal in this film that I put on. Me trying to hide my identity and literally masquerading myself as an upper caste person for most part of my life. That takes a toll on you, and it brings down your confidence. So a lot of those things and a lot of that shame, I wanted to like sort of exercise my demons. So I put them out there. So it's a combination of many things that went into picking up this film.
When Masan happened, which is 2015, 10 years ago,
Yeah.
what was the phase of life that you were in versus now, where you seem very comfortable and open with who you are?
Honest answer is therapy.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, after Masan, it was quite a phase for me because, I mean, not many people can understand this, but like how imposter syndrome kicks in. And then I used to literally flee from places where they would start praising about Masan. And I used to feel so ashamed doing that. And slowly, I think it's taken a lot of courage for me to come into I actually couldn't take phone calls, even of my family. I couldn't get out of my house. Thankfully, friends like Varun Grover, Anurag, and Vikram, they pushed me, said you have to get out, and that's when I at least got into Sacred Games. So that's how the process has been. And I think it's also like between Masan to Homebound, I think it's also my own coming of age journey, so to say.
So
Yeah.
it's been an interesting 10 years.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll ask the actors a
Yes.
question. I know him as a filmmaker, but from the other side of the camera, how does Neeraj direct actors? Can you take a scene where you saw how he kind of guides you, or
So I think, if I may start first, I think सबसे पहली चीज़ तो ये है कि he doesn't start directing you on set. He's one of those, I would say, rare filmmakers that has already done a lot of the prep for you as an actor. Like he said, he's worked on this film for 4 years. So by the point at which any of us got attached to this, I think I first met you as early as May, but he had still worked 3 years on this film. So
May of last year?
May of last year.
I'm terrible with dates. So.
May of last year.
Okay.
March is when I read March, May. So by that, and we started shooting in September. So we had about 3-4 months of prep. 3-4 महीने तो हमने ज़बरदस्त prep की थी इस पे. And we started with dialect for 3 or 4 months. We worked with Sridhar Dubey, who's in the film as well. And I think the beautiful thing about him is how keenly observant that he is of people, and his nuanced understanding of behavior. So that as an actor, I think helps a lot. But beyond all that, it's him just knowing his characters, knowing his script, and yet he admits that there is so much more of a distance to cover. So the first thing that he said to us was that craftiness is not enough for me. आप एक अच्छी परफॉर्मेंस दे सकते हो, बेहतरीन परफॉर्मेंस दे सकते हो, लेकिन वो काफ़ी नहीं है मेरे लिए. मैं चाहता हूँ कि आप कोशिश करो कि आप इस किरदार को जी सको, बन सको, जी सको. Okay. To really bridge the gap between you and the character, because he had said कि character won't come to you. You'll have to make that, you'll have to cover that distance. Right. And I think one of the best things that we were lucky to do before we started shooting was we took a trip together. UP गए थे हम. We were in Barabanki. We went to Lucknow, based out of there, and then कई सारे हमने गांव देखे, लोगों के साथ उठे बैठे, उनके साथ खाना खाया, बातें की, and just हवा पानी एक संगत होती है, एक असर होता है उस चीज़ का. to the point where I think लास्ट डे पे छठवा दिन था हमारा शायद, हम वहाँ से वापस आ रहे थे और विशाल ने मुझे देख के बोला था किसी घर से बाहर चल के आ रहा था मैं, और उनके घर पे हमने खाना वाना खाया था. ये कहानी ये बताएंगे बिकॉज इट्स वेरी क्लोज टू यू एंड वेरी पर्सनल. बट उस घर में 3 बच्चे थे और 2 बच्चियां थी जिन्होंने मुझे हाथ से पकड़ के मुझे छत पे ले गए. एंड दे सेड वी वांट टू शो यू समथिंग. दे सेड कि हम रोज शाम को यहाँ बैठते हैं और इन पेड़ों से बातें करते हैं. और वो 2 पेड़ थे, उनको नाम दिया था उन्होंने नोबिता और शिजुका और नोबिता, जो कार्टून कैरेक्टर्स हैं. So I don't know, it's just such an intimate detail, you know, these are things that somewhere open your mind, but also just such a beautiful lived experience. And I was walking out of there and एक पल के लिए मुझे ऐसा लगा कि एक फीलिंग आई कि मेरा गांव है, और मेरे गेट में एक बदलाव आया चलने के अंदाज में. And I was walking back to the car और विशाल ने मुझे 100 मीटर आगे से देख के बोला, शोएब नाइस वॉक.
क्योंकि हम उस गांव से जब बाहर निकल रहे थे तो मुझे ऐसा लगा कि ईशान को अपना किरदार मिल गया. बिकॉज द वे ही वॉक्ड ना, वो जिस तरीके से चल के आ रहा था, मुझे लगा ही नहीं कि ये ईशान चल रहा है, मुझे लगा ये शोएब है. और मैंने पूछा, और वो फर्स्ट टाइम था जब मैंने डिस्कवर किया कि आई थिंक इसके अंदर वो कैरेक्टर की हलचल होनी शुरू हो गई है. तो वो समय मुझे पता. आई थिंक यू कंटिन्यू.
No, he's right. He's the for me it's the fact that he was so connected कि वो एक ही बंदा था, उसने 100 मीटर आगे से देख के बोल दिया. मुझे जो फीलिंग आई as it was happening,
हाँ,
parallelly he has said कि उसने पहचान लिया.
तो आपके अंदर वो हलचल कब शुरू हुई?
जब मैं फिल्म के माहौल के बारे में जानने लगा. मेरे बहुत सारे बिलीव थे, बहुत सारी चीज़ें मैं समझता था. और अगर मैं इस बारे में बात करूं तो हर एक पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू में अंडरस्टैंड नहीं कर पाता था. तो मैंने ईशान से इस बारे में बात की थी, मैंने नीरज सर से इस बारे में बात की थी. तब मेरे अंदर मुझे एक शिफ्ट पता चला. ईजी नहीं था, डिफ़िकल्ट था, बट मैं ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा किरदार के बारे में जानने लगा. सर ने हमें एक बुक भी दी थी पढ़ने के लिए, हाँ, तो मैंने उसके बारे में पढ़ा. इट वॉज अ टफ रीड. और वो पढ़ने के बाद मुझे और बहुत ज़्यादा चीज़ें पता चली. और आई थिंक तब जाके मैं किरदार को समझने लगा. और जैसे ईशान ने कहा कि सर हमेशा नहीं चाहते हैं कि आप सिर्फ एक्टिंग करें, परफॉर्म करें, क्योंकि परफॉर्मेंस सर के लिए इनफ नहीं है. उन्हें चाहिए कि आप कैरेक्टर को जिए. और इसके लिए हम दोनों ने हर एक तरीके से मेहनत की, हर एक तरीके से. फिर वो फिज़िकली भी हो, जैसे मैं 64 kg था, मैंने 9 से 10 किलो वज़न कम कर लिया जब तक मैं फ़िल्म कंप्लीट कर रहा था. और हम गांव में गए, जहाँ मैं रहता था, जो मेरा गांव बताया है, चंदन का जो घर है, मैं उस घर पे जाता था. वहाँ पे हमने स्क्रिप्ट पढ़ी, वहाँ पे नरेशन लिया. गांव में हम तीनों ने, एक बार सर ने हमें पूरी स्क्रिप्ट सुनाई थी. फिर एक बहुत ही ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट फैक्टर मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि अब ट्रेलर देखने के बाद और जिन भी लोगों ने फिल्म देखी है, सब लोग कहते हैं कि यार विशाल, तुम्हारी और ईशान की फ्रेंडशिप, आई मीन चंदन और शोएब की फ्रेंडशिप बहुत बखूबी दिख रही है, जो कि आई थिंक सोल है हमारी फिल्म की, बहुत ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट फैक्टर है. और वो एक्टिंग से नहीं होता. उसके लिए हम दोनों को एक दूसरे के वल्नरेबल स्टेट में अंदर जाके और वो आइस ब्रेक करने के बाद ही वो मिल सकता है. तो सर ने सबसे पहली एक्सरसाइज हमसे ये कराई कि मुझे नहीं चाहिए कि आप दोनों एक दूसरे को ईशान और विशाल की तरह देखें. तो इसके लिए पहले एक दूसरे को जानो. और जानने का मतलब ये नहीं है कि हम बाहर से कैसे दिखते हैं. ईशान की पर्सनल लाइफ क्या है, मेरी पर्सनल लाइफ क्या है, हम दोनों के चैलेंजेस, इनसिक्योरिटी, हम दोनों की ऐसी बातें जो बहुत ज़्यादा लोगों को नहीं पता है. एंड आई एम सो ग्लैड,
vulnerable with one another.
हाँ, and I am so glad.
Actually, you know what? When I was telling them that the friendship should look lived in. So I told them that listen, the easiest way, because you can't forge a friendship so quickly. They only had 3-4 months. So I told them psychologically, when you become vulnerable with someone, you instantly become closer to that person. So I said to hasten the friendship.
Trauma bonding.
Yeah, so do the trauma bonding
Easiest
basically.
route to the character.
So then both of them they used to also they used to go to each other's house. क्रिकेट खेलते थे लोग, फिर बाद में बीच पे चलते थे और एक दूसरे को अपने पर्सनल चीजें बताते थे. That they could never speak to anyone else.
So if I want to know about Ishaan, I can ask him.
Yeah.
And if I want to know about...
Yeah, we should try that.
Yes.
Let's try.
No, but it's nice
Chandan
because
तक तो मैं कर लूँ.
No,
Vishal.
I think it shows because that one scene where, without spoiling too much, it's like they have a brief fight and then they have a reunion on a terrace chat pe. And it really feels like I'm so glad this thing happened, because you're like, are they going to how long are they going to be apart? I could not stand them to be apart. Like, मैं जब देख रहा था, the feeling was that, shit man, these guys have fought, you know, I want them back together. So that was really coming to me.
एक मैं बताऊं, बॉलीवुड का एक डायलॉग है ना, दोस्ती में नो सॉरी नो थैंक यू, वो डायलॉग हमारी फ्रेंडशिप रिप्रेजेंट करता है. ऐसे दोस्त जो सॉरी भी नहीं बोलते,
तो आप ये धर्मा के
और ये अगर क्रॉसओवर हो रहा है यहाँ पर, तो मैं सुचारिता को माफी मांग लूं प्लीज. वो मैंने प्यार किया का ही डायलॉग है. मैं लड़ दिया था इस बात पे, बट यू वर राइट, बट इट वाज आल्सो यूज्ड इन.
Oh, I'm a huge fan of that line. Dosti mein no sorry, no thanks.
You're a fan of that line?
I mean, मैंने प्यार
He
किया.
is
Come on, how
actually the
can you
most
not?
unexpected human being you'll meet in
No,
your life.
it's a nice
You should
line. Just
know
asking
his
if you're a fan.
alternate
I am a full fan.
personalities. You should know.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I love Maine Pyar Kiya. So
Yeah, I'm a full on.
yeah. So, did you have a cap at that point?
Thank you. No.
I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised. You have it, no?
I used to have it. Way back in the day when I fought with my sister to buy me a friend cap, and I wanted the Hero Ranger cycle for myself. Yes.
Yeah.
We all have done that. Yeah.
That's-
Even the Dilai Ki Matani cap, you remember that? Sorry.
But Neeraj, in Masan as well, you tell the story
Yeah.
through the stories of two characters.
Yeah.
Except that out there it's a little like there are two parallel stories. Then they intersect at the end. Here they travel together. What is it that interests you about this? Of course, in this Basharat story was about this, but there is this. I was comparing that to this, and I felt like there's something about having two people that helps you
narrative.
dramatize things better. Am I correct?
You know, I think that's a very interesting question because I never thought about it, but I feel the base of it comes from my penchant to talk about intersectionality.
Okay.
I think it comes from there because I feel no identity is in isolation. You know, because there are many, as Indians ourselves, like our mere existence is political, so that your identity is formed out of various marginalizations as well. You know, so it's like, so I felt maybe that is the thing that makes me want to have that thing. Actually, never thought of it, but maybe I don't know, maybe it adds up that way.
Yeah. And which parts of, because I heard that Basharat Pir's article, you use some parts of it as is, and then you fictionalize some parts.
See, okay, I am, you know, I'm a sucker for reality, and I feel that imagination is very limited. So I tend to borrow a lot from reality.
Okay.
Which is why also, you know, when they were talking about it, like I kept telling them, listen, you guys are good actors, you'll nail the performance, and that's not enough because you are representing so many of Chandans, so many of Shoaibs across India. And you know, it's your moral responsibility to be as close to the lived reality. So, which is why this whole journey that we took for like to going into villages and being there, we had some amazing experiences that someday I'll tell you. But that was essential. So I think fictionalizing, like because I didn't want to fictionalize much of Basharat's story, and you know, it's an interesting point because me and Basharat also took a similar journey. Because we were meant to meet the families. It was also like me and him were like Shoaib and Chandan together, and we toured and we spoke about so many things. We were trying to understand, like when I met this family, they just had the picture and they couldn't speak. They were just crying. You know, so I felt that you got to honor, you're deriving from it. It is the least that we can do to bring that authenticity of their existence. So that is, I think, sacrosanct for me. I will not want to compromise because you are representing someone's reality and it has to be very close to how it should be.
Right.
Yeah.
Why the English title?
Okay, it's a very silly answer, honestly speaking, because when we were going for Cannes and all, so of course I wanted, like, Masan was not taken too well by a lot of Western audience. So like, okay, this time I want to have an English title. So English title, of course we were going to have an Hindi title when we come back. But it got stuck so much and we didn't have any time because, you know, we finished this film in break. I mean, I had no time. Shoot, edit, then send it to apply for Cannes. We didn't have any time. And even when we came back, it got stuck. And we realized that now if we change, it will... And trust me, I tried many names.
He did.
And also the thing is that none of them are available.
Yeah.
None of the good names.
Two of them in particular.
Yeah, two of them in particular. They were like not available at all.
But that's
all
not a
were in
silly
love
answer.
with them.
That's
but-
not a silly answer. That's
I mean, no, but it's like, what do you do? Because and also it was stuck. Like people would identify with it, and I knew that like me and Karan spoke about it. Like, what do we do? Because like, you know, we're too late in the day. Like we can't do like because it's so stuck in people's mind that you can't change it.
Can you tell me the other names?
I mean, one of them was Bande,
Okay.
and then other one,
Parinde.
Parinde.
Okay.
Yeah,
And both were not available.
yeah. Every name that I could imagine of friendship is taken. So yeah, I mean that is a niggle that I'll always carry. That I wish I had any.
We didn't try for Sholay too, sir.
Yeah.
We should have.
That would have been a little
That would
too
have been
much.
a
So yeah.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah.
So good we didn't.
Yeah. But what did you have to? Did you have to unlearn something that because as actors, you kind of pick up certain things along the way, right? If it's this kind of scene, I'm going to try and do this. If that's that kind of a scene, I'm going to try and do that. Did you have to unlearn anything for this? Both of you.
You go first.
For me, yes, I had to unlearn something. Actually, I had to control myself. तो मेरी अब तक की performances हमेशा जैसी भी रही है, उसमें मैंने देखा है और लोगों ने भी नोटिस किया है, उसमें ऐसा है कि ओ वाव फैक्टर्स बहुत है कि अरे यार फाड़ दिया, अरे यार बहुत अच्छा काम हुआ है. अब यहाँ पे मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि कंट्रोल करना मेरे लिए वो डिफ़िकल्ट था, जहाँ पे आप सीन देखते देखते इतना फ्लॉलेसली वो सीन चले जाए कि आपको रियलाइज़ ना हो कि यहाँ पे कुछ करने की कोशिश की गई है. तो जब भी मैं कुछ करने की कोशिश करता था, क्योंकि वो अंदर आपको आएगा, आपको बहुत ही मन करेगा, बट कंट्रोल नहीं करना है, ज़्यादा हो रहा है वहाँ पे कंट्रोल करना है. तो मेरे लिए आई थिंक ये परफॉर्मेंस इसलिए बहुत ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट थी कि मैं सिंपल तरीके से कितना बखूबी काम निभा सकता हूँ, जहाँ पे आपको लास्ट तक समझ में ही ना आए कि कुछ परफॉर्म किया और देन यू रियलाइज आफ्टर वॉचिंग अ फिल्म कि ओ मतलब इतना एफर्टलेसली चला गया कि समझ नहीं आया. तो मुझे अपने आप को कंट्रोल करना और ये एंग्जाइटी निकालना कि मुझे अब कुछ बेस्ट करके दिखाना है, वो एक उम्र के बाद एक्टर की लाइफ में धीरे धीरे आने लगता है. वो आई थिंक नीरज सर लेके आए. I hope मैं जो बोल रहा हूँ वो फिल्म में भी दिखे लोगों को.
People like it, yeah? But it's very effective. I'll come back to you later.
Good answer, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good answer. You, how did Martin Scorsese help with the screenplay and the editing? Because that's something I heard that he did.
So essentially, actually, not many people know, but he was supposed to present Masan as well, and he really liked it, but some issues with the producers at that time didn't work out. And so this time I thought that let me try. So the entire credit goes to Melita Toscan. She's one of our producers of Masan. So we've stuck together, and then I said that you want to come on board and let's talk to him again and see what he has to say. So we sent the screenplay, he loved it, and then he mentored on the screenplay. He used to give notes to Melita, and then he used to come to me and we used to talk. I had one Zoom session with him, and I couldn't, trust me, believe that I'm sitting across with him, and he's talking about the characters. It's like the script that you wrote, and he's mentioning those letters and words and those arcs, and he's talking about arcs and stuff. And then after the film got over, then he saw through the edit, and he's 1, 2, 3, so many times he's seen the edit and he's sending notes. And I think any filmmaker right now, I'm vicariously living their dream, because to have him, such a selfless man, like he has no reason to do this. Unless he's a mad ardent fan of a cinema that he is. He's arguably, not arguably, I would say he's the biggest filmmaker in the world. And he having to lend his voice. And actually, it also happened that one time he also said that, can you, I think Melita told me that, why don't you write a letter to him? So I literally wrote a letter to Sir with Love. And I wrote a long 3-page passage. I think that really moved him. So.
But can you give me one specific, let's say, thing that he said, like, this is the screenplay and I'd like you to think about this? Either,
one of the important feedbacks that he was giving, that, I was honestly speaking, Buddy, I'm trying to make, so this has been my thinking that, we all indie filmmakers will go to a festival, we'll get the applause. It's that echo chamber that we are satisfied with. But the people that we make films about, if they don't get to see, what is even the point? Then it is just like, how different are we from the white man syndrome? Because if we are not exercising our art for it to reach to the people that it's based on, So that's why I've always wanted to make something which can work here as well as a festival like Cannes or Toronto. That always has been my thing. So I tried to make it like a hybrid. In fact, the inspiration actually I drew it from Nagaraj, the way he did side art. But then I think I somewhere also went overboard. And he was telling
Which
me.
film are you talking about? Here.
Yeah, Homebound.
Oh.
So there were a lot of elements that were like, because he told me that Neeraj, like, you know, once we get in, we know they are friends. We don't, like, there was a montage of their friendship and whatever. So which is what I'm now right now using it in promotions. So all of that is not there in the film. Just FYI. You know, people don't
False promises.
come and kill me. You know, you gotta do. Because like, these are the only ways that we can like make it, you know, more like accessible.
He also trusts his audiences to know.
Yeah, you
They
know,
know.
that was the thing. And he rightly said that, you know, your heart is your friendship. You know, it's the boys, always the boys. Remember this. So there were other tracks also that were there. And I realized I was too attached to them, genuinely too attached to them. But I had to like let go, you know, kill the darlings. And like, if I had not pushed, maybe like, you know, that was necessary for me. A word from him.
So one thing that it's interesting that you mentioned the word hybrid, because one of the things I love about Masan and about Homebound is that I spoke to you briefly about this earlier. Is that you're not mainstream or art house, you know.
Yeah.
You have the sensibility of everything. You know, I know people say it's just good cinema, bad cinema, but there's a sensibility attached to this, and there's a sensibility attached to that. Like, you're not afraid to show emotion.
Yeah.
You're not afraid to use music in certain places. Like, there's complete silence, very natural sound, and then when they get up on the bike and go to the match, that's when the music begins. You know, there's a certain emotion that goes with that particular thing. And similarly to his big scene, let's just say big scene.
Okay.
I think it needed that level of melodrama. And I think you're one of the very few people who uses melodrama beautifully, instead of it going into one zone where you're just trying to manipulate people. I mean, I think there's good melodrama, there's bad melodrama, like everything else. Tell me about this mix that you have, this fact that, and then we'll come to about the performance bit about it. So,
you know, I have always felt that I'm going to be in trouble for this, but like a lot of us indie filmmakers, when we make, the sad part is that we are either making it out of borrowed money from the West. Here we don't have as much funding, and our only way out is festivals. And for festivals, there is a certain kind of palette.
and
There is a
emotional
certain
palette,
kind of
right?
European idiom that you have to follow of emotions, which in a way comes in my way because also from my school, my upbringing has been into films that were a little, and also you know, maybe we are like Italians, we wear our emotions on our sleeves, and why should we shy away from that? You know, because I mean, Europe is coming from post-communist world, and you know, maybe there is that colder thing. And I'm telling you, like I watch everything. Like I am a art house cinema ardent fan. I mean, one of my favorite filmmakers is Galatta, but at the same time, I also love Baradwaj. You know, I don't want to ever like have that. So I felt that if we, so that is my thing, that I'm okay to say not, like I can make a fully art house film. Like I don't want to. I want it to be seen by people here. You know, I want it to be appreciated here as well. Because what is even the point? Because then we are just like, exporting it to the West and taking the laurels and not giving back.
Yeah.
You know, so that has been my thing for a while, and I don't know how far I go. And also, I think melodrama, it comes naturally to me because I think one has seen so much growing up, and you know, so much has happened. So yeah, it comes from within. And also emotional scenes, I get so hyper. You know, like the boys will tell you about. There's this thing that we used to do that we devised on the set. It's called Code 360.
Yeah.
Okay, so during that time when they had emotional scenes, it goes in the call sheet. There are some postulates that I've written down, and it goes across to the set. So on set, nobody speaks to the actors. Everybody talks in whispers, and Their managers won't talk to them about anything else. Only me or the first AD will speak to them.
Managers were not on set.
Yeah, they were not, in the sense like, they don't get a call and anything. And like I use music a lot. Like every scene I had a playlist. So to
Boon for an actor.
instantly like to transform into that zone. But then also like, so people will behave on set in the tone of the scene that is being directed on that day. So like the clap will also be given in the same tone as the scene. So those are the things that like I get super.
Which is not only limited to,
You feel like it is actors set.
Yeah.
Is what I am saying.
Yeah.
सर के सेट पे ऐसा ही लगता है कि आप एक्टर्स के सेट पे हो तो हमारे लिए काम किया जा रहा है ऐसा फील होता है.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing that it does, ना, ये जो आखिरी चीज़ इन्होंने कही थी, that the clap is also in the tone of the scene. The assumption is that if it's an emotional scene, there will be a sensitivity to that. No, but in an angry scene, there will be an energy.
Okay.
So I think it's the cumulative energy of everybody on the unit, on the set, comes into the scene. And I think that happens in any film.
Yeah.
So just the fact that he's able to completely hone in his crew, and everyone comes with intentionality on the set. Nobody is just, passing the time or faffing around. Everybody's involved in what's happening.
Yeah.
Like these things that we've spoken, before they came in, this was all briefed to the team. The entire team was told that there are children, we have to take care of them. Whenever they go through this, any phase, any emotion, aid them. Don't try to obstruct. Because it's very difficult. Like, a clap may seem like a very small thing. But trust me, they go through so much to channel a certain emotion. And suddenly someone yells a clap and, it's like they snap out. It's like, because that's the first point.
It's so ephemeral.
Yeah. It is
एक लम्हे में है, दूसरे में चला गया. And then you're just like trying to, So it is, I don't know, it's an abstract thing, but he gets that and not everyone does.
Was that scene, which we just talked about, that big emotional scene of yours in this movie, which comes quite late, was that the highest meter you've gone to in terms of emotion in your career?
Probably.
What did it take out of you?
I think the closest parallel was I had a big meltdown in my first film in Beyond the Clouds with the pigeons. But I think the feeling of this scene was so much bigger than even just the emotionality of the character. It was the whole journey in a way, and जैसे कहते हैं ना, कभी-कभी कोई scene होता है जो film का एक निचोड़ होता है. So sometimes they're simpler scenes, but in this film it really was, and he never shied away from telling me that also, that you need to, like, this is the moment that it's building towards, and it cannot fall flat. And I think for me it was much easier just because it's him.
Okay.
Honestly, it was a very difficult scene, probably the most difficult scene I've had in my career so far, and maybe for a long time.
You're downplaying it, Ishaan, I must tell you. People about this scene.
But it's these things that he does, we didn't want to address it till we needed to, was one thing. But we always knew it was like this big mountain that's coming. And I think one of the things that also helped is that we shot it in the end. It was, I think, the third last day of shoot.
Yeah.
And so it was the end of the journey. We were, walking for 2 days at that point. It was the final walk that we were filming. And I think it was, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what it was. I think I just allowed myself to go wherever it took me. And we worked on the monologue a lot because it is technical and it is difficult when you're shooting. We were shooting in the middle of a bridge. There were lockdowns in place. So we would do a take and have to punch in for a close, and there would be cars moving. People saying, shooting ho rahi hai, are Ishaan. All this was also hopefully not so much being recognized because
it was very difficult because people would come in and but I must tell you, like, about that scene, I am frankly was the hardest thing to do this film. That was the hardest scene. And there are many things that went behind that even Ishaan probably didn't even realize, because like there were 2 other difficult scenes that Ishaan had done earlier, and I once caught him, he was offering a little prayer before the shoot of the scene, and it just did something inside of me. It was spiritual to just watch him do that in the corner of a set, and I was bowled over by that. And during this scene, he was so invested in it, and I was also obviously super, and he was not doing it, and I thought, he didn't do it. Should I go tell him? But I didn't want to break his thing, so my assistant, Ibad, I asked him that, can you do a small prayer for him? Because should he not miss out on like what he does? Like, I'm an atheist, but I believe in his whatever prayer he was doing, and I didn't know the prayer, so I asked Ibad to do that. And many things happened, beach mein, like, I think we were hitting a deadlock as to where to hit, and the crowd and stuff. At a point, I think he left the set, he walked into like corner, he screamed for a long time. He screamed and he came back, and I would like make everyone around him like that, and the camera, so not to disturb his mood, not to disturb this thing. It was frankly the most challenging. I think we shot for 2 days because I didn't want to compromise on that one scene. And
I didn't even remember that I screamed.
Yeah, and also music helped also. Like, after that, like, we've done so many takes that he was dried out. Like, it is human to like, and then at a point, then I played one song which was also very inspiration for the film. This is Kishore Kumar's song.
Which one?
राह पे रहते हैं.
Oh.
Written by Gulzar Saab.
Oh my God. Namkeen.
इसकी एक कहानी, एक anecdote है मेरे पास.
That Namkeen song is one of my favorite.
It is my life song. Trust me, I love that song.
Good Lord, that fact of a man traveling and not finding a place to.
Yes.
आसमान का कोई कोना ओढ़
थोड़ा
के-
सो गए.
Oh my God, that's
so I played it, and it's there in the take. We have to remove it somehow because, I was like,
And this song आपको याद होगा सर, जब हमने पहली बार फिल्म सुनी थी साथ में, because we each read the film, but the first time and the only time he narrated the film was जब हम गांव में थे यूपी में, and एक मज़ार में हमने पेड़ के नीचे बैठ के कहानी सुनी थी पूरी, and just before this scene a storm descended upon us, and हवाएं चलने लगी, बारिश होने लगी. So we had to sit in the car and we started going back towards the city. It was the end of the day, शाम हो गई थी. And he finished narrating the last 2 scenes of the film to us in the car, and then he played the song. और हम तीनों चुपचाप एक घंटे भर की जर्नी पे चुपचाप बैठे रहे, and we were quietly in our own way reconciling
none of us
and
could
crying.
speak. Also that experience that happened in the village was, we've been doing this long journey. Like, the extent that we're gonna tell you in the dialect training, I used to make graphs for them. Like a line, I would say. So in Bihar, it goes like this and then goes up. The last word goes up. So then I used to draw a thing. It plateaus here, it dips here. So, those kind of exercises we did. But when we went to Lucknow and we spent time in the villages, we'd speak to random people. But this one gentleman, very small little house, 3 little daughters, they said they'll want to host us. And the lady, she scrambled around and like got vegetables from all fields and naturally everything. And the best meal I've ever had in my life, and I ever will. Because we all were sat in, and I think I said, "Tum log jao karo jo karna hai. I want to eat this meal." And I'm eating, and I finished, and I was so overwhelmed by it. I hugged the man, and he said, "Bhaiya, मैं इंसान गरीब हूँ, लेकिन खाना बहुत बढ़िया खिलाऊंगा." It broke me, it just like, and at that point, Baddy, I realized that it felt like what we are doing here is researching for a film and making a film is so banal in comparison to this life-altering experience that you get. And I think, and soon after then, we had the narration on Mazar, and it started raining suddenly, and we heard, like, it was I can't describe in words how transformative that journey has been for all 3 of us.
One of the very interesting things about the film, among the many things which we could go on talking about if we had more time, but one of the many interesting things is how you use the Janhvi character to make us think about the individual struggle versus the struggle for the larger struggle, the struggle for the collective. Like, is it should we think about ourselves and our journey and just like what's next for me, or should we kind of look ahead and what I could do if I took this path which could benefit me as well as benefit society or the larger population? That's a very interesting question. Is there an answer to that?
It is difficult answer, not a whole answer, I would say, because I mean Janhvi's character is sort of the moral core of the film, in the sense like the ideology that she starts with she borrows from Ambedkar's educate, agitate, arise. She starts that, and if you see that stays through the
Recurring
film.
theme.
Yeah.
And that was also, it's also interesting to create that contrast between two Dalit characters, because generally it's assumed that any marginalized identity is a monolith. Everybody behaves and assumes the same way. No, there are differences in the Central community as well. So, like, her penchant for education is from a right place. It is from an Ambedkar politics that she comes from. But Chandan's character is more me.
Yeah.
Like, it took a lot of time for me to come into my own. And she's allowing that space. But also, that could be the conflict. So I felt that is an interesting way to have something, rather than, oh, you're poor or rich. And also, they're both economically, they're almost at the same level.
Yeah.
It's just that she stays in a Sarkari quarters. And she did realize that this intersectionality is just not just about like caste. It's also about his means. Right now he needs this. So it's very difficult for people to assume that, education. But education is also a privilege that not many of us understand.
Yeah.
So, and also it also comes from a place of like me having to make films with two dudes was not auguring well with my feminist side. So I wanted like there has to be, and also it has to have agency. The female character has to have agency and also has to come into her own, because she also represents the youth of this film, the third wheel, where she's also representing something else.
Yeah. Which is why I think what ultimately happens is so moving, because there is this character that gets two options.
Yeah.
And the option that he chooses is actually the way forward. And I think that's great. So I think we're talking in secret. So let's stop here.
I think people will get it when they see it and they'll make 2 and 2.
Yeah. So
Just please watch the film on the 26th of September.
yes, this,
In cinemas.
it's in cinemas. Yeah.
And
So-
don't put out spoilers and screen grabs of something more important.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So thank you so much.
Thank
Alvin.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
டார்லிங் 3D தீபாவளி டீல்ஸ் நீங்கள் வாங்கும் ஒவ்வொரு பொருளுக்கும் 3 அற்புதமான டீல்ஸ்.
Aha, no compromise. உங்க சைடுலயும் எங்க சைடுலயும். It's a GT promise.
GT Holidays, South India's #1 travel brand.
WeCare Hair and Skin Clinic. Say hello to spotless radiance with WeCare's Melasine Skin Treatment. Call 755 0030 222.